Okay, so let's take a look at relations and functions lesson number 4, where we're going to focus on domain and range. So if we're completing the statements, the x-intercept of a graph of a relation has a blank coordinate with the value of 0. Well, if it's x-intercept, then it's going to be y is equal to 0. At the same rate, as we've already seen, if it's a y-intercept, that means that x is always going to have a value of 0. The domain and range are going to be all of the possible values which can be used for the input and all the possible values that can be used for the output. In lesson 2, when we were looking at this, and we looked at it in words, mapping or arrow diagrams, table of values, equations, set of ordered pairs, or graphs, in this case, we're going to focus specifically on how we can represent these actual values. So, if it asks us to list the domain and the range of the following ordered pairs, I know that for the first example, the domain is going to represent the inputs, which in ordered pairs are always going to show up on the left. Well, if my numbers on the left are 1, 0, 3, 5, and -3, I'm just going to list them in order, going -3 is the smallest, then 0, then 1, then 3, then 5. If I'm doing my range, I'm going to say that the range is going to be represented by 2, 5, 8, 9, and 2. I'm not going to repeat the 2. Let's just say 2, 5, 8, and 9. In the second set, for B, the domain is going to be represented by 3, 0, -3, 2, and -8. So if I put it in order, it's going to be -8, -3, 0, 2, and 3. For my range, it's represented by 3, 3, 3, 9, and 3. Well, that's easy enough. It's just 3 and 9. I'm going to get rid of those redundancies. For example 2, when we're looking at it graphically, well, we have a couple of possibilities. We have the possibility of the first case where they're all exact points. And we can pull these from what would be the ordered pairs of the table of values. If I'm listing what the domain is for the first one, I'm going to say that it goes from -4 here, it goes -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just go from left to right and list them. -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. When I'm dealing with the range, well, the range, the lowest point is going to be at 0, and that goes up to 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then it just goes back down again. But because we're eliminating redundancies, the range only exists as 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, when I get to B, B is going to look a little different. For B, because it's a continuous line, it's not discrete data, and it connects all the way through here, then that means that it could be literally any number that is between these points. If the lowest point for x is -4 and the highest point is +4, then I'm going to say that the domain is going to be represented by the variable x, where -4 is less than or equal to, because it's a solid dot on the ends, x, which is less than or equal to +4, and x can be any number that is a real number. So it can be partial numbers, it can be irrational numbers, it doesn't matter as long as it mathematically exists. The range is going to look pretty similar. It's going to be represented by y, and I'm going to say the lowest point is 0, the highest point is 4, so 0 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 4, where y can also be any element from the set of real numbers. Now, when we get to example C, we can see here that the arrow indicates that it's going to keep going to the left, keep going to the right, so there is no lowest point for x, there is no highest point for x. Well, how would we represent that? Well, because it can be any number to the left, any number to the right, it's still represented by x, but x can literally be any number that's on the set of real numbers, or just XER. It can be anything to the negative, anything to the positive, rational, irrational, whatever. There's no restrictions. For the range, there is a restriction. The range, as we can see here, does not have a lowest point because it's going to keep moving down, but it does have a highest point. The highest point is going to be 4. So I'm going to say that y has to be less than or equal to 4, where it can also be any number on the set of real numbers. Make sure when you're doing it for the practice, you're including these set brackets. That's going to be really important when you carry on to the next level. All right.